Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I thought I would do another breakfast chat for you guys. And we're going to mess with my new iPhone 11 because the other camcorder, I can't get the audio to work right. People have made a lot of suggestions, but it doesn't work well with external mics. People were recommending mics that require to have an internal power supply. It doesn't have any of that. So it works great for getting really good quality training footage, but not so good for this. But the iPhone seems to be a lot better for the audio, so we're just going to run with it. And people who are curious what I'm eating, you're going to notice a trend: bison and rice. Although today I have a little bit of ground bell pepper in it, and I'm drinking cranberry juice. I thought it was funny the other day, someone had chimed in with some of this. They had said, I looked really close to the vertical diet. And I'm like, no, it doesn't look really close to the vertical diet. I do the vertical diet. Been doing it a while. But people who follow my blog already know that. So let's talk about the myth of lean gains. And it's unfortunate that on this platform and on the internet in general, people have been conned on this. And I'm sorry that you've been conned, but if you look at every legitimate expert who is themselves a very serious athlete and lifter, and when I mean legitimate, I'm talking PhD level, or even say a master's in the field. Every single one of them tell you that barring certain circumstances, lean gains are largely impossible. And I'm going to try not to insult too many people here because I'm trying to stay very positive. But when you're getting your information from physical therapists who are anorexic, who are not strong, they're not athletic, they're weak, they're skinny, and everyone that they coach is weak and skinny, for the most part. Everyone who follows their programs is weak and skinny. We can't talk about lean gains in that way. These are marketing, and there's a few guys out there who do that, or it's a few guys who are very, very, very heavily enhanced who are telling you, oh, you'll never need to bulk. But here's what we mean by bulk. Bulk means to gain weight. And it's basically, these are trying to convince people that they can just stay at the same body weight and achieve their goals forever. And unless you're overweight, that's never going to happen. I mean, okay, if you're starting out at, 5'10", 220, when you first start lifting, maybe, but you're still going to be better eventually regaining weight after you lose it. But in theory, that person could probably make a lot of progress without gaining body weight. They can recomposition a real long time. But if you're 150 pounds, 160 pounds, you're never going to get size and strength if you're at an average height without gaining body weight. It's just not going to happen. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's been disproven by every expert. It's been disproven by all the anecdotes. It's just marketing. It's nonsense. And it doesn't help that half the industry, again, me being different here, is covered up all the time other than when they are peeled. And then these are the same people trying to tell you, oh yeah, you can get jacked, but they're bulking and just not showing you. But then if you start looking at the people who do know what they're talking about, even some of these people I don't like. So let's be honest. Everyone knows Lane Norton and I am not friends. And that's an understatement. But even he is over here telling you, this doesn't work. You can't. You're going to have to gain weight. You're going to have to gain body fat to get anywhere near your potential. You might be able to trim down later, that's fine, but you're going to have to bulk. And he's telling you that. Well, Dr. Mike is telling you that. Bugenhagen is even telling you guys that. Mr. I drink a gallon of whole milk a day, Eric Bugenhagen, who also does happen to have an advanced degree in the field. People forget that. And these are all people that a lot of you probably respect, at least one of those guys. They're all telling you the same thing. All right? Every one of them. Look at other guys. How about, let's give a perfect example, someone who does show you when he's bulking and doesn't hide. How about Chris Jones on this platform? He and I go way back. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for many, many, many years. But Chris gains fat. He doesn't stay lean like that year round. He doesn't. And if he tried to, he would never make any progress. Okay, let's be very, very clear. Once you have built any sort of base as a novice, you finished up half your new gains, you are not going to gain significant amounts of muscle trying to stay at the same weight or the same body fat. You're not going to sit at 10% body fat and stay there and gain muscle. It's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. And if you do, it's going to take you 5 years to do what you could do in 1. Okay? And you still might not reach the same potential. And people could say, well, I don't mind the long game as long as I finish, but you may not actually reach it. That's the point. And then we come over to the point of why do people care about, they're not going to do the things that they need to do to gain muscle and to gain strength. Then why do you guys care about all this other stuff? Like, what is the point of trying to find perfect supplementation, the perfect programming, everything else, if you're not going to be able to gain muscle anyways? Like, if you're not going to eat enough to gain muscle and gain body weight, there is no program that will fix that. The best coach in the world writing custom programming for you is not going to be able to give you good progress. It's just not going to happen. You have to eat. And guys have to give up this idea that without using copious amounts of gear, that they are going to see their abs year round. For most people, that's unrealistic. And let's come over to the point. People will say, oh, well, yeah, obviously gear users are the exception. They're not the exception either. Up to a point, but then you reach a point even for them to where they can't gain further muscle without bulking. Why do you think? Go look at all these pro bodybuilders. These are the guys who are using ridiculous, insane amounts of stuff. It's not even they're using some stuff. A lot of pro bodybuilders are literally spending $20,000, $30,000 a year on the stuff they're putting into their bodies. Okay? That's what they're spending. That's what they're spending. Some of them are. They still have to bulk to gain muscle. On all of that stuff, the amount of stuff these guys are taking, for them to continue to put on that next 5 pounds of muscle, they have to gain sometimes 30 or 40 pounds of body weight to do it. And they lose the abs. They lose the leanness. And that's for some of those guys just pursuing 5 pounds. Oh, can I be 1 pound heavier this next year in competition than the year before? 1 pound. So even those guys are not exempt. It's up to a threshold. But you plateau with those things too. In other words, at a certain point, a given amount of stuff that someone's taking doesn't just keep putting muscle on them indefinitely. They reach then a threshold to where it slows down to the same speed as normal gain. So if a person is using, whatever, 500 milligrams of X, Y, or Z, if they stay on 500 milligrams long enough, they stop gaining extra muscle from it, and now they've reached a new homeostasis, and then they're gaining muscle at the same rate as a natural does. They're just at a higher ceiling. Does that make sense? They're gaining muscle at the same rate as a natural after that. Just they're bigger, and therefore they're gaining that extra pound of muscle there stacked on top of the extra 20 they already have. They reach the same situation, and their only solution is to just accept the slower natty gains, which means back to the bulking and everything, right? Or they up the dose. That's what they do. That's how it works. So people have been lied to. They've been lied to, and it's nice marketing. It's clever marketing. Say, oh yeah, you can make lean gains, or yeah, you could just indefinitely recomposition to the same body weight forever. You can gain muscle and lose fat the same body weight for 2 years straight. It doesn't work that way. Not supported by the evidence. No legitimate expert or coach supports this. Only charlatans support this, right? Only people who are literally con men who are ripping people off with shady business practices are telling you this nonsense. And interestingly enough, even though they promote it, their followers still don't achieve those results. And that should speak volumes. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.